Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another State of FEH Podcast. We're on the 10th episode this time, and we have our returning guest, as always, Oblivion Knight and Joel from Theology. Why don't you guys say hi, introduce yourselves?
Hey, everybody, it's Oblivion. Glad to be back.
Hello, Summoners, and welcome to another... Man, this is... we've done so many of these now. Do I need to do the Hello, Summoners thing? I don't know, but guys, we always have an absolute blast. Glad to have you here. DTM is going to lead us through a guided discussion of how all the things are changing in FEH, and it's going to be incredible.
Oh my god.
Yes, there is so much to talk about, and I guess that's to be expected from the end of the book and the beginning of a new one. But I guess to start us off on a more light topic, with Book VI's conclusion, what do you guys think overall about the Book VI, and where do you think it compares to like the other books?
For me, I enjoyed the ending. I mean, I kind of enjoyed the ending. I enjoyed the relationship of Embla and Asker and kind of the dynamics between Alphonse and Veronica and how they are paralleled. But then I didn't love how like rushed I kind of felt. Like I felt like at the end of the book, we finally got to see Embla and get to know her a little bit, and then it was just over. And I wish there was like maybe one more chapter where we really got to explore her character a little bit more.
And I feel like that's always the problem. Like the stories themselves are getting better. They really are. Mm-hmm. But they're still trying to cram into, I mean, how many paragraphs of text do you think a full story is? It's not very many.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they can convince FEH fans to read more.
I would be much more willing to read a story than read the paragraphs of explanations of abilities.
Right. My goodness, Dual Ephrem's Refined literally like explained bonus twice. Like, why would they do that?
Oh my gosh.
Actually?
I am posting that meme. I'm going to have the full text of Duo Ephrem, and I'm going to have the full text of Book VI, and we're going to compare the length.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But yeah, it is a bit unfortunate that like with the limited, I guess, text space they provide for the story, it does like constrain its story. Although even despite that, I personally really enjoyed it, and I would actually say it's probably my favorite book overall, thinking about it. Yeah, I really enjoyed the Asker Embla dynamic. Also at the beginning with the intrigue. And honestly, like, again, this is mainly due to like Veronica and Alphonse being, very well developed and very interesting characters. And even though there were weak parts, especially in the beginning, the middle, overall I thought it was pretty good when it comes to like stories in FEH.
It's probably my second favorite, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite?
I like Book 3. I like the themes of like hell and like Gustav sacrificing himself, and like Lif and Throsir I think are some great characters because they are Alphonse and Veronica. Like we finally got to explore another side of them, which I thought was really cool. So Book 3 is still my favorite.
Definitely.
A running theme in this discussion.
Have you seen the theory that Seiðr is really Reagan?
No,
I have not seen that theory.
I don't think there's any way, but someone on Reddit posted this. I mean, they really dug into this. It was fascinating. I don't think there's any way, but I was like, that's kind of interesting.
What are your first impressions of Book VII, like, so far?
I think the art is fantastic. I think the music is absolutely spectacular. The character design looks great. I still am trying to get over Gullveig and her sprite, where her sprite is holding the tome. That is hilarious. I didn't even notice until I posted it, and someone posted it down below where she was too lazy to hold her own tome, and that's. But I think it has a lot of potential, and I hope it lives up to it.
I'm not usually one to simp for characters too much, but Gullveig is like, whew, like the second she showed up in that cinematic, I was like, oh man, this is where we're going with FEH. I'm down. Sign me up.
Well, you notice she got to be the icon instead of Seiðr.
I mean, that was a smart choice. Like, let's be real. That's going to sell a lot more than Seiðr.
Yeah, I mean, I really love the designs as well. And not only that, but like Golveg, just looking from what she has as an enemy, also as a unit, is also looking super interesting and super fun to play with. And yeah, so far I am also like casually optimistic as well with this book. I do hope that like they are able to really sell the asynchronous like timeline and really incorporate that. Hopefully they will be able to do that relatively well, but we'll see. But yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, hopefully they actually wrote out like the whole story beforehand, so it's planned. They don't kind of like wing it. That would be great.
Yeah. But anyways, as we mentioned, we had the end of Book 6, and that also meant that 2 new units on a Mythic and Legendary banner just recently got released, that being Legendary Veronica and the unit that everyone has been talking about, apparently, Embla. I believe both of you managed to summon both of them. What is your experience using them so far?
Neither of us want to go first. We're like, all right, what's the other one going to say? I'll jump in. Okay, I think it's really funny because on any other banner, Veronica would be just proclaimed as the most powerful unit in the land and everyone would be freaking out because she really is that good. Only she came out with Embla. And right. I mean, Embla just is an absolute meta changer. And I have a weird prediction that in the long run, I think Veronica is going to be a better unit because in some way they're going to absolutely nerf Embla. And I'm curious if that actually comes to be. We'll see though. But for the most part, I like the design. I just think they were too heavy-handed with the way they implemented it on Embla. I think the restrictions should have been greater. And you look no further than Seiðr. I think they did a great job with there were a lot of things that you have to do in order to get this end turn thing to pop up. And so there is counterplay to it, whereas Embla exists and you lose save. It's just too heavy-handed.
I actually agree with you. I think that Veronica might age better, but I'm not sure if it's going to be because we get like false start, like that is, can be used on any season. Like, do we get like a seasonal element, or do they just give out this effect to other units later in the year? And so Embla becomes less special in a sense, you know what I mean? And Veronica gets to stay as being special because even though Special Spiral 4 does exist and we can get that damage reduction piercing on other characters now, she still uses it extremely well. So I think she is going to age really, really like well over time.
And we've seen Sweep age really well. I mean, that is always an excellent skill.
Exactly. Right. And like even if we do get like a mage special, unless it's like too cooldown, like Legendary Veronica, it's very unlikely that any other mage cav potentially could use that mage special as well as Legendary Veronica. Even especially considering like the built-in tempo, and I believe Veronica can also do a follow-up before the foe's counterattack, right?
Right.
Yeah. Desperation.
Yes. And so like it's going to be extremely hard to like, I guess, quote unquote power creep. I say that, and who knows what IS will do. But yeah, like, and like Veronica, I mean not Veronica, but Embla, like the main thing she is providing right now is that anti-save, along with, I guess, feud and a variety of things. If we ever get like a seasonal Embla, I feel like that would very much quickly overtake Embla outside of Dark Season. Mm-hmm. And so there is the fear that, just like with Dagger, now we have New Year's Dagger. And so there is that risk. But obviously, in terms of like a Dark Mythic, I think just having a Dark Mythic have that capability is super powerful. Although I haven't actually seen that many Emblas so far, which is really strange to me. At least Joel, in the matches I've encountered in Ether raids, yeah.
Joel, do you want to take that one, or do you want me to take that one for the not seeing Embla yet?
You go for it. Go for it.
Okay. So I tried using Embla Hunter day one, and I think that she is not just a very easy plug and play hero. You really need to plan out your defense to make sure that it works very well, because if you don't, there are going to be holes, and any good player will find that hole and take advantage of it. And that's what happened to me on day one. So I think that she will become very prominent. It'll probably take maybe another season or so before she starts to show up a little bit more. But the thing that you have to remember when it comes to Embla is that it comes down to availability, right? Like whenever there's a meta shift, you have to have the hero available on a big enough scale that people can actually use her. So right now we have like a lot of early adopters, but we really won't see like Embla completely like dumpster the meta if she does until her second rerun, which is I think March. I think that's what I want to say.
It's around March, I'd say.
Right. So like I think that everybody's like saying saves are dead. I don't think saves are dead quite yet, just because it does take a little bit of time for that meta shift to happen.
And so I actually agree with you 100%, but I will offer this counterpoint. So if you look at how Arvel has infiltrated the Anima season, Arvel did not sell nearly as well as Embla did.
That's true.
So we may see it adopted quicker, but I agree that at least this first season we're gonna see, like I keep on saying, like, DTM, you made a post on Twitter where you showed Embla in the corner and just not even worth it, just someone just threw her out there.
Yes.
And those are the Emblas that I'm seeing right now. Somebody's just like, oh, I got Embla, I don't really have time to make a defense with her, here she is, she's gonna be amazing. And that's not the way that works. And it's just like Oblivion said, she's not a plug and play unit. This is going to take some time for us to figure out. And I don't think she works well in Catria balls in general. Like and so many people have that entrenched as their defense, and that's where they're invested. And so making that shift is going to be difficult. And I know several people are trying to prove me wrong and have her on their Catria ball. So I'm curious how the season goes for them. And I'm keeping close tabs on how Embla is affecting things.
I think the thing you were bringing up about Arvel, though, is that Arvel is plug and play. But the other thing is that, like, Dark Season, like you said, has so many good options for defense right now. Like, even though Emblem might be one of the best choices, like, you could just use a Catria ball and it's still going to succeed because it's been succeeding up to this point. But with Anima, like, we were getting dumpstered so hard. Like, you bring in Arvel, it's like, oh, the Messiah has shown up to fix the defense.
Right, like, Arvel arrived in a situation that desperately needed, like, anything to help with the defense, whereas like in Light and Dark Season, Embla, you know, I said this before, but like Embla isn't exactly needed on Light and Dark Season, especially compared to Anima and Astra. So I think it definitely will take a while for Embla to, I guess, catch on, even compared to someone like Arvel, who, as we mentioned, even didn't really sell well compared to Veronica and Embla. Although I personally will say that's selling point is probably mainly due to Legendary Veronica, if I were to speculate. Like, just personally, Veronica's way cooler. That's all.
and joking aside, you're not wrong.
But yeah,
like, this is the color share.
Yes,
sorry,
color share
go
was
ahead.
really good.
Amazing.
What were the types of defenses you were trying Embla out on, out of curiosity?
The different archetypes?
Yeah.
I've tried her out on a Cav line, on a Catria ball, on a melee Cav line. That's about it. I've been hearing tell of folks trying them out on like a restore line, like try to bring those old metas back.
Restore
I haven't personally seen that. Yes. How funny is that? But that's I still think she works best in the melee Cav line. I just haven't tweaked it out yet.
I tried to do the legendary Sigurd like mobility meta thing again. And Edelgard showed up and ruined it on day one. So
yes, but yeah, like if I were to speculate, I think again it will take some time. Although personally, I think Embla will definitely help with making defenses with less investment, or potentially those that don't have Bridal Catria, just be able to have another good defensive option, because since, you know, Embla does disable saves, there's that meta again where you try to attack the support units, which was a big deal when like restore traps were a thing. So not too surprising that people are trying to do restore traps with Embla now, but would be interesting to see how like that shifts in the meta as people figure things out.
We've seen this before, though, and the interesting thing is Embla herself will have, just like we're talking about, there will be a slow ramp where she works herself into the meta. But the biggest influence she has is the fear factor. And everyone in Light Season is now going, oh my god, my saves may just tank. And so I have to, which was a weird choice of words. But anyway, so they're going, okay, I need to invest more in Gale Force and Hit and Run and Vantage. And so that itself is kind of a neat effect of Embla.
Right, like even though she's not like as prevalent, her power is such that, you know, you need to take her into account whenever you go into Ether raids. So despite
Exactly.
Yeah, she is super meta impactful in that sense. Which is just another reminder that I should have waited like 2 weeks to make that video on meta impactful units. I got views.
I'm interested to see people's reaction to Embla over time. Because right now I see a lot of people like, yes, saves are dead, they're all happy. But in a couple of months, I want to see people are still saying that, or everybody's like, oh my god, the game is so hard now, or like something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've seen mixed reactions when Embla got released, honestly. Like, obviously, there were people like me who were, like, super happy, but I also saw, like, in equal measure, a lot of people who were very scared. And, yeah, it will be interesting to see, I guess, how those sentiments evolve over time.
The common sentiment I kept seeing was that basically they liked that there were counters to saves. They just... Man, Embla was not quite what they wanted. So we'll see.
I mean, Embla just doesn't disable saves either, right? There's also that feud effect that she has, which makes tanking in general really hard.
Yeah.
They're really trying to push a player phase meta, which is interesting. I don't remember ever in the history of the game them pushing this hard on it.
I haven't played Fae as long as you two have, but I do agree, like, for the vast majority of my time, like, it was mainly either tanking with Omni tanks or save tanking. There was that brief moment, like when like Sigurd knot lines arrived, that they were, I guess, in a meta that incentivized player phase, especially with this release of Safety Fence. But once like Ascended Fjorm released with like Hardy Fighter, that quickly shifted back. So yeah, that is interesting to think about. But yeah,
the last time we had a player phase meta was like year one with Reinhardt, when everybody was just literally running around with Reinhardt and Braveland and killing everything. And even then, that wasn't something they wanted per se. That was like an accident. They were like, okay, let's throw out counters and try to get this to slow down. Let's put in like, you know, things to slow down calves or whatever we can do. So I don't think that was their plan.
No counter disrupt.
What an interesting comparison. So basically, Embla is Reinhardt on purpose?
I guess in a sense.
She's Bat Reinhardt.
I mean, Embla might bring Reinhardt back to like cav lines and stuff, like in defense. Like that's a definite possibility.
Yeah.
I say that, and Promise will just come out of nowhere and say Reinhardt is always there, but you know. But yeah,
I don't understand Promise. Honest to God, she still uses like the same cav line, and it just works. Like I've watched her defense results, and it just she always puts some little trick in there where somehow her dual Reinhardts and her OG Claude just kill people. And I don't understand how she does it. She is much, much smarter than me. That's all I can say.
Maybe we're just thinking about defense wrong, and just go back to all cav Emblem. That's always been the meta. We've just been fooled.
There you go.
But yeah, speaking of calves, with the release of Book VII, there was a very special cavalry unit that was recently given out to us for free, and that is, of course, Seiðr. yeah, Seiðr caught the world by storm, at least in Fae, due to future focus. I believe that's her preference C. Obviously, it's currently light and dark season, so we haven't really been able to test her out in Astra. But from a lot of the testing people have done, it's looking very, very interesting, to say the least. Wouldn't you say?
For sure. I think she encourages really creative play, which is something that I enjoy quite a bit. I think that is a good look for Fae. And just bringing back weird strategies like Vantage and making hit and run actually usable. I don't know that she really helps tanks too much. Although, I mean, I have seen where if you leave a tank that isn't res stacked on the corner, then you can definitely stop them from moving. But yeah, it's really interesting to use her. The one thing I will say, and I put out a big video on the value of her as a merge project. But one of the sentiments, and I have a hard time arguing with this, is, well, I don't really need her to win because I'm already winning in Astra season.
Yeah.
And that's the rich get richer in that case, where it is yet another good Astra season mythic.
Oh my gosh, there's so many so far. It's just ridiculous how many tools Astra season has. Like, compared to light season, it's just like you have Thor, you have Elemi, now you have Seiðr, you have Plumeria, Regan. Like, there's just so many good Astra mythics. And it's like, why did you put them all on Astra and there's none on light? Like, we have like we have Peony and Asker, I guess, and Ash, but like
Asker
still
too.
Like, oh, I did not Asker. Yeah, Asker, definitely Asker.
Yeah. But yeah, like we have all those good like Astra mythics, and what does Anima have? Like Saros, Odor, Arvel's pretty cool, but still, like, that was only after like so many months. So yeah, I mean, obviously the reason why Seiðr is Astra is because they wanted to balance out the seasons of the free-to-play mythics that we get. So now we have like 2 light, 2 Astras, or no, 3 lights, 2 Astras. But yeah, like as you mentioned, like I do think Seiðr is very interesting. Definitely leads to very cool strategies. I've seen that Twitter clip of I think 1,000 where they lock 3 units, and just like tank the rest, which is very insane. But like when I was thinking about Seiðr, I genuinely thought that, you know, something like that would be super powerful for something like Gale Force, where one of the main limitations or like challenges of Gale Force is to try to trap a unit to try to get the pots. But with Seiðr, you can theoretically trap 3 units at the same time and not even have to worry about that. So the amount of units you actually have to take out, in theory, could be almost halved, which is actually really insane for Gale Force. And yeah, I would be very interested to see how well she does in both regular Astra and in Chaos Season, where I believe Chaos Season is next, right? Yeah.
Yes. I think she just dumpsters Chaos Season. Maybe that's an over exaggeration because it was already dumpstered. There are so many ways. It is very lopsided in Chaos Season, probably more than Astra Season, if I'm being completely honest. And that's more has to do with the bonus units in this particular one. But I've been trying to come up with a good Chaos defense, and I'm just not seeing it. The one thing I will caution about using Seiðr on a Gale Force team is it would be better if it was even number turns.
Right.
And that's the only thing. But most of the teams you're going up against, and if you watch the master himself do this, most of the time you can wait till turn 3 to engage. And so, or you could, like you're saying, you could even, well, I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of different things you could do there. I guess it would be turn 3, and then that would be the stall would happen then, where you'd cancel out someone's turn. But you would have to wait for that. Normally on turn 1, there's just so much debris in the way, it's hard to initiate.
Right. Like, obviously it like depends on like the defense map, whether or not you can like turn 1 it. But thankfully, at least in Astra season, there shouldn't be that many maps with high threat range, and if there are, I mean, we do have other teams for a reason. But yeah, like, not having it on even turns is unfortunate for those that use Safe Defense. Although it being on turn 3 is really good for those that use Bolt Tower, because Bolt Tower obviously activates on turn 3. And
Right, that's what I was thinking.
yeah, in Anima, there's no Medius, so no need to worry about that. And yeah, if you can wait to turn 3, get that Bolt Tower off, that's just very easy to just clear out, assuming no unit is like 90 HP or something. Arden. What was that? Sorry.
I've actually had like a weird relationship with Seiðr already. It's only been a few days, but I did my summoning session. I got to the Spark, and I was like, okay, do I pick Ophelia or do I pick Seiðr? And my competitive side's like, you pick the Mythic always, right? Like, that's just a free merch. But then I'm like, oh man, Ophelia has really good fodder. So I'm sitting there for like, I don't know how long, trying to make a decision. And I choose Seiðr. And then I see Joel summons, and he gets like 3 Ophelias. And I'm like, oh, I should have got Ophelia. I feel bad. And then Joel tweets out the 1,000 like play where she like freezes 3 things. And I'm like, no, I made the right choice. I feel like she's like a safe defense, like literally, where like you can like mess up your Gale Force, and then you can just plug the hole with her. Like, oh, I'm just gonna put her in there and just block that, and okay, I'm still good. Like, that's crazy. I think the big thing is like that her effect happens at the end of the turn instead of at the beginning of the turn. So unlike isolation, where you're like planning ahead of time, like I'm gonna put my unit here so they're isolated on their turn. With this one, you're just like taking Seiðr and you're just putting her where she needs to be at the end of the turn, and then she just shuts stuff off, which is really, really much more powerful in my opinion, especially because you can run something like Wings of Mercy. So if you're doing Gale Force, you can just have Wings of Mercy on her, and then, oh, okay, I messed up here, or I need to block this, and you just put her in, and then there you go, it's done. You know what I mean? You have to win the resistance check, obviously, but that's not the biggest deal if you have Wings of Mercy, because you can teleport right next to them.
And I'm going to agree with you, but I will offer a counterpoint. It's good because things like isolation are at the beginning of the turn. Because isolation works at the beginning and this works at the end, they work really well in conjunction.
That's true.
They work powerfully together. Like combining Fjorm and Seiðr is kind of ridiculous. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and like one other thing, I think this is how Future Focus work, but because it is like at the end of the turn, that means that when you do your res check, I think the bonuses on Seiðr still apply compared to something like Elamine, where you don't actually get the bonuses on Elamine to help with a res check. Now you still get the chills, I believe, because Future Focus happens after all the foes' start of turn effects happen, which includes like chills and stuff, but
yeah,
that's a less differential that you need to take into account, which does make the res check easier, which is good because the res check is a lot more stringent than Elamine's res check, especially when accounting for the distances.
Just don't buff her and then sit her right underneath a panic manor. Not that I would ever do that, ever. But, just, for those of you out there who are playing with her, just, keep an eye out for that.
I guess that increases the value of like something like Panic Smoke. I mean, not Panic Smoke, like Panic Ploy or something like that. I guess that could be something that's really interesting.
I think Panic has had a lot of value for a while. I mean, this definitely puts it even higher.
What are your thoughts on Seiðr in something like Summoner's Duels? And I guess Embla as well, since we're on this topic.
When it comes to Seiðr, like my goal in life now is I want to use Seiðr in Summoner Duels, and I want to trick somebody. I'm like, okay, look, I'm putting my unit up, they're hurt, they're below 50% HP, and I want to like checkmate them by putting Seiðr between all their units and like stopping all their actions. And I'm gonna like flex on them so hard, and I'm gonna put that on like every single video.
Oh my goodness,
that's my goal now.
That's like that meme of like 100% feelings of power it gives you. Yeah, like that is obviously like feels super satisfying. It is unfortunate that it's only on odd turns, like as we mentioned before, because like I think in turn 1 generally you're not going to be able to get off any safety fence shenanigans. So realistically, I think the latest you can, or the earliest you can get Seidr's effect off is probably around turn 3, which is quite a time away from like the beginning phase of the match.
Yeah, usually all the action is turn 2. Like that's that's prime time for units getting destroyed. And for I think you've nailed it right there. I think Seiðr is harder to use than Embla, whereas I've seen Embla's use in Summoner Duels, and I think she's going to be absolutely amazing, especially when you talk about in conjunction with like Sonya, Harmonic Sonya. Right. That's when things really get messy. So we'll see. But Embla on Summoner Duels is amazing. I can see us working Seiðr into Summoner Duels. I think she's going to be fun, but I don't think she has as obvious as Embla.
Right. I think Embla is going to obviously just be powerful in Summoner Duels. Every match I've seen with Embla is just like crazy. Like it just gets super aggressive super fast because I think the other person's like realizes like, oh, I'm screwed. My save doesn't work anymore. It's time to fight. It's time to fight right now. I'm very interested to see that.
It's that person who jumped out of the airplane, pulls the chute, and it doesn't go.
Pretty much, yeah. Time to do something real quick. The other thing is that she is a beast unit, which I love, obviously, because I'm a big beast fan. So, that means that if I can find ways to get more melee teams, like full melee teams, or Sonya, you can kind of fit Sonya into beast teams because she can be kind of farther away.
Right.
But, like, being able to use Mufasa and Emblem together are a very exciting notion, and Asker are a very exciting notion for me.
Yeah, you can effectively have like a very good like all beast or like beast and dragon team with like all the very good dragons and beasts we've gotten, and
yes,
super excited to see that. I've been seeing a lot of Embla with Thief Nina, I think.
Oh yeah.
Which is super annoying because normally Thief Nina is fine. Like any regular save unit can pretty much counter her no problem. But obviously without the save, you just pop the dual skill, get extra movement, and go to town. And assuming you don't have dual Thor, like I don't, there's not a lot you can do besides retreat. So yeah, thankfully she is still a horse. So depending on the map, there's like trenches and stuff you can play around. But still. Yeah, very interesting to see how Embla continues to go forward.
I think this just drives Brave Seliph stock even higher because that threat range that he has, along with the miracle that he provides, I think being able to be constantly on the attack is a good place to be. Not to mention, if you pair Seliph with Embla, that's just absolutely terrifying.
I will say, I do like the shift of a more aggressive Summoner's Duels meta, because one, I think that's a lot less boring, to be perfectly honest. And I also think that, it opens up like, units like Thief Nina, who otherwise would have been completely blocked out, even as annoying as she is. Like, hopefully this does like give some more variety to Summoner's Duels, although I say that and every team's probably going to have Embla now, so we'll see how things go with that.
I mean, if you don't look at Embla, I think it makes it more accessible because the units that are expensive, the units that actually take merges to get better, are your far save tanks.
Right.
Like those are your nukes. You want like a +1 and you're good to go. For your saviors, you want all the flowers and all the merges and summoner support and everything else. So that's the devaluing of those is probably hurts whales more than it does the free to play folks.
I'm not honestly sure how I feel because like I think you are right. It's gonna rotate or move towards more aggression, but with more aggression, the thing you have to realize is like that requires more studying and understanding the map, right? Because like the biggest thing with aggressive play is that you need to have a good opening, and if someone has a better opening than you, you're gonna lose really really quick if the meta is super aggressive because you don't have that safety net of a tank or of a far tank to protect you. So if you're out of line all of a sudden, you're just dead, which is like kind of crazy that you could. You could be wiped out turn 1, that could happen, but most likely it's turn 2 because they need to get Embla into position.
Right.
But even then, like I think it's gonna make a bigger divide between players who are prepared and players who are not prepared. And if you've done SDS or SDR like intensively going for rank 1, you know that like there's already a lot of studying involved, but now it might be even more. So that's kind of not the best. And the other thing is, like, I think that this does mean that the stocks for Canto Control and Yuri are going to go back up, actually, because I feel like Yuri kind of fell off really hard with Canto Control. Mm-hmm. I think Canto Control kind of came less relevant because no one was using Yuri because of saves, really. But now that saves are gone, you can snipe other things again. So then Yuri's actually good again. So then you need Canto Control again. So I'm kind of interested to see how that like ends up.
I mean, I think Yuri fell off both because of like all the Hardy Fighter far saves were eventually specifically to counter him, but also like Summer Thor with her stall effect also did a huge number on like you having to like either work around the stall effect that she employs or just like try to avoid having Yuri in a position next to like your slowest unit, and that in conjunction with the fact that he no longer really cut through any far save like really hindered him. Obviously though, with Embla things might change, but I don't think Yuri will be as prevalent as he was back in his heyday where he was everywhere.
There's no way that happens, but I do think that his like, because he dropped pretty far down, I would say, but now he might come back a little bit.
Yeah, obviously though, Seiðr and Embla weren't the only units that were released this time. We've also gotten a very recent New Heroes banner with the Fates. What are your overall thoughts on the banner itself and the units in this banner?
Man, that was best of times, worst of times thing. I mean, Ophelia was really fantastic. Seiðr was really fantastic. Dwyer? I
am so sad what they did to Dwyer.
I don't know. I don't understand that at all. And I'm not just a huge fan of Kaldori. I think she's kind of neat, but yeah, I guess she's great fodder. Yeah, there's high praise there. Good fodder.
Like the whole banner is kind of fodder. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Ophelia is great, but like she also just has an arcane weapon, so you can kind of just take that and put on whoever, right? And then you kind of have like a pseudo art Ophelia right there yourself. So I feel like the whole banner was kind of fodder, right? Like you're like, okay, Ophelia has amazing fodder with Special Spiral 4. Like even like to me, honestly, the Special Spiral 4 is more valuable than the arcane weapon at this point, which is like kind of crazy to say. And then Kaldori has some fodder as well. I don't know what they were thinking with Dwyer. He's just another thing to summon you don't want to get, essentially.
But how many sucks. Like in the past 6 weeks, how many 4-star healers have we gotten? Is it 3?
3, yeah.
3, yeah. Like we had Elise,
jeez,
Nina.
That's a lot.
Dwyer, yeah.
Yeah.
They really need to do something about like 3-star, 4-star healers. There's no way they continue this, right? Like it's so bad.
No. I know exactly what they're doing, right? You know why they're pumping so many healers out? They're gonna give us like 4 more, and they're gonna go, there's an arcane staff now.
Exactly.
Everybody's gonna have to summon for it, because everybody has an old favorite healer, and now everybody's gonna have a new favorite healer, and they're gonna be like, well, I need 2.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's gonna be the most insane thing we've ever seen. Like it's gonna be a 20 might staff that grants null follow up to nearby units, and yeah, it's just gonna be nuts.
And it will be on the worst banner ever. So that unit will be amazing, and everything else will be trash. Everything else around it will be garbage, and you're like, oh, I have to summon on this banner for this amazing staff unit, but there's everything else that's like not even have like a preference weapon.
Yeah, sad times for staff users until then, I guess. But yeah, back on like the banner with like Ophelia and whatnot, I do really like the Ophelia alt design-wise. I think like art-wise, that is like so works for Ophelia. The rest are okay, I guess. Don't really have too much to say. But yeah, like I miss the days when, because like you could just give like arcane, Eclipse, and Special Spiral 4 to any Red Tome user, and you have like a pseudo Ophelia, and there wouldn't be really that much difference besides stats. And it's a shame because Ophelia doesn't have a preference skill, unlike Rearmed Grima or Rearmed Lift. Like Ganglock didn't have a preference skill either, so I'm worried that this is a trend that might continue because outside of like weapons, preference skills are things that keep a unit unique and not just a comparison of stats.
Well, we talked about this when we originally talked about rearmed heroes in general, and remembering Ascendants and how amazing they were at the very beginning, and then they slowly got they're still very powerful units. I mean, no one will tell you that Ophelia is a bad unit, but it's just in comparison, they're not as impactful and they're not as original.
I mean, I kind of prefer that to an extent because, like, honestly, the game is kind of crazy with how much power creep we've been getting, right? Like, everything comes out and it's just like, oh my god, you need this. Oh my god, you need this. There's this new save tank. There's a new save tank, right? You're like, oh my gosh. So with, like, these arcane weapon users who don't have, like, preference unique skills, at least you don't feel like you have to have them necessarily, right? It's more like, do I need this or do I want this arcane weapon for a favorite? I can kind of pass on it, you know what I mean? I mean, there are obviously special Spiral 4 that kind of nullifies that argument to an extent, but still, like, you technically can pass on this weapon and not feel terrible about it.
I mean, like, outside of Rearmed Grima, I didn't feel like the other Rearmed heroes were really that meta impactful either. Like, when was the last time you saw a Rearmed Lif, like, in any competitive mode?
When he destroyed my entire Aether Raid's offense.
I mean, that's what I like, though. Fair. I like that, though. I like that Grima's the only one we've gotten so far that has been so meta influential.
Leaf is slept on. That unit has so much stupid defense. I just it is. He's actually very, very good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
skill
units. Yeah. I mean, just because like a unit has a preference skill doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be meta impactful. But yeah, I do agree to it. I do agree that we don't want like super meta impactful units like Rearmed Grima every time they have like a rearmed hero.
Especially when you look at something like Ike, right? With his preference skill, it's still year 2. They will update. I'm not salty, I swear.
I mean, at least Legendary Ike was treated better than Sothis, right?
I mean, that's a low bar, but yes. It's a very low bar.
Like, I literally I summoned on Sothis on that like glitched hero fest just because I needed a dark mythic. And I thought, you know what? Sothis will be there forever and we'll be good on dark season. And that has been the worst prediction I've ever made, ever.
I was right there with you. I've told Adara apparently forgot about this in the server, but I was having a discussion with her. I was like, you know, they've got Nagi and they've got Sothis, and they're on discount. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and get one of these, and I think it's gonna be Sothis because, you know, this is a dark mythic, and mythics just age so well. And she was like, Joel, you should really get Nagi. I was like, no way. Oh. Aged so poorly. I still can't believe how bad Sothis is. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah. And it's not like we can even blame the Glitched Hero Fest because like Duel Ephraim was in the Glitched Hero Fest too, right? But he got a pretty decent refine. So
he got an okay refine.
Yeah, it's okay.
He got a refine that tries to power creep his own duo skill. I mean, that's there was a part of me that was just like, you got extra movement and that's what your duo skill gave? I mean,
at least it's not as bad as Sothis, right? So
maybe can't keep saying that.
Yeah, you can't say that. That's like saying, hey, it's not the worst refine in the game. Like, okay, cool, thanks.
You're not the worst. You're like second worst at best.
Okay,
I mean, you're fine.
Sothis
it's not
is
Effie.
Like the myth. Yeah, I was about to say. Sothis is the mythic Effie right now. All right. Anyways, enough Sothis slandering. That was obviously the banner wasn't the only thing that was released on the FEH channel that introduced Book 7. We also got some updates to our favorite modes, Arena and Binding Worlds. We love those modes. But the one for Binding Worlds in particular is super interesting because Forma Souls for any unit that you encounter when playing that mode just sounds like super good value, right?
No.
Yes. Absolutely.
No, because it's $55. Like that's.
Yes.
I mean, you say value,
Joel.
you have to talk about the dollar amount, and
Joel.
that's $55 is a lot.
I don't
It
want
is
to
a
hear
lot.
that from you.
But
Oh, come on, now we're whales. We're gonna buy that. I mean, that's we as in me and Oblivion, not DTM. But yeah, we're gonna buy that sucker. We're gonna love it. But I mean, how many people does that actually help in the game? That's there's a small portion of the people that actually would enjoy that, and the rest of them are gonna be like, you guys, I hate you so much for getting these. What are we gonna call them? Whale formas? I mean, I don't know what we want to call them, but they're, yeah.
I mean, okay, like if you were gonna spend orbs though, that's probably the best place you can spend orbs, because you're getting the same amount of orbs that you would normally get, but you're also getting this item on top of it. So I think like value-wise, it's like good value. It's just like, okay, the starting price is high.
Mm-hmm. Give out a free one a year, and I think this is the most amazing thing ever.
yeah,
I don't think that would break the game. One free one a year. I'm telling you, that would harbor so much goodwill with the player base, because these are so much fun. And of course, DTM, what you're talking about with value is all the fodder and all the great stuff you get on that unit. You're 100% right about that. But,
I was thinking about this, and I think the reason why they won't do that, now that I thought about it more, is because unlike Forma Souls, you can only use one per event. So if they gave one out for free, they can't sell one during that event because there's no point. You can't use two of them. So I don't think they're gonna do that.
Yeah, that is a possibility. I'm hoping it's not, because hopefully we get like a frequent enough Binding Worlds event where I guess the losses of that wouldn't be as impactful. But yeah, that is a big fear, because like the only way to currently get these is to pay for them, and obviously as F2P players that is just not an option. So yeah, hopefully they do. I'm not going to hold my breath though. Like Anniversary, I think, would be the only time they would ever give one out for free, if any.
Forgive me for a second. I'm gonna plug. I put a video together for this exact topic, and that's cool. Go check that out. But what I really want to talk about is that there's a new resource called FEH Connect, where you can go and submit your builds so that other people can format your heroes. But you can also just show off your builds to everybody in the community. So if you're interested in that, go check that out for sure. It's a really cool resource.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you're looking for how to get there, go to Oblivion's video and watch the whole thing. It's very, very good. It'll tell you all about these things, tell you how to use them, what units you should target, why. It's an excellent video. And then at the end, of course, you'll get that link.
Yes, and that video link will be in the description down below. So definitely go
It's
check
in the
that out
description.
after
It's in the description.
Yes. What would
we
go ahead.
all week we listen to him work on this. Like this is something he worked very, very hard on, guys.
If you are planning on getting this Otherworld item, what would be the unit you would be most looking to get for Binding Worlds things?
Sothis, unironically. Sothis.
Really?
I'm not even kidding. I want a decked out Sothis, and if someone actually gets me that, I will try to use this unit in every mode I can. And we're gonna find out if we can actually use this stupid unit. Because
I can help you with that. I can help you with that. I think Connor Zach. I'm pretty sure Connor Zach has a decked out Sothis, like everything on her. I think she even has Bulwark.
Will he be friends with me though?
I don't know. You've been kind of mean to him lately. Oh man. For me personally, who I want to choose, I have a few options because I'm not sure who I'm gonna get. Right, so I want to get Brave Roy. I know everyone's gonna laugh at me, but I really want like an attack speed clash, like a decked out Brave Roy, or I want like an attack speed clash decked out Alencia, or I want like a Summoner Duels Nyla. And then my meta self is like still like I don't want to do this, but at the same point I had to do. I want to just grab a peony merge because that peony merge is so much value, and my peony is not merged at all, so that would be like a lot of help.
Yeah, I think like actually like one of the better ways to use this is on like Mythics or Legendaries, but more so Mythics because of the guaranteed value, I would say. Like I am if one ever gets out for free, I am super tempted to spend one on like a Plumeria just to be able to finish her +10 and not have to wade through the terrible legendary and mythic banners. Like, I'm super tempted, even if like there's so many other amazing units that could potentially use that.
Right, exactly.
The other units that I'll say actually are pretty good for this are GHBs, Grail units, GHBs and Tempest Trials, because the fodder is so expensive on those, and you can actually get merges on them. Right. So I think that's another great place. But I mean, listen to us. The first thing we talk about is not using these on meta impactful things. The first thing we talk about is, wouldn't it be fun if we got this unit? Like, another one for me is original Dimitri.
Yes.
Because I have him merged up, but I haven't updated his kit at all. I would love to get one and actually update that unit.
Exactly.
And the way it's got the community's gears spinning is so much fun. And then I see the price tag and I just have a hard time with it. That is very expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, the price is definitely a huge shame. But I guess, yeah. I mean, as an F2 player, I definitely understand the pain. But yeah, on to less, I guess, whale things. The arena changes have...
What? That was your worst transition ever.
It was sort of intentional, but anyways.
Never mind. Then it was your best. I'm sorry, I missed it. That was excellent.
The arena changes. Well, in a way, like arena with the new bonus system. Obviously, it's not every time, but when it happens, it's definitely a lot more F2P friendly. And obviously, the reward you get at the end is also really amazing because you get like a 4-star special for free. What are your overall thoughts on those changes?
Love them so much. I cannot remember the last time I had so much fun in Arena. I pulled out my Black Knight, my +10 Black Knight, and just went to town. Like bonus stats and Black Luna, I had an absolute blast. It was fantastic. I love the reward. I think that once a week, I really like. I can't believe they did it once a week. That's amazing. And they aren't meta impactful units, so they're just fun. And you get merges on these fun units. And I guess I say that there are a few meta impactful units in there, but for the most part, it's just you're like, hey, I haven't gotten to use this unit in a while, and there's a merge for them. So fantastic. I think they knocked it out of the park with that. I'm curious. Do you guys feel like they should have just kept the bonus seasons all the time, or do you like that they go back and forth?
That's a hard one because I feel like if you don't have a +10 in that version, then like your chances of staying in Arena like tier 21 is probably like very low. Now for like us veteran players, obviously that's not very hard. We're probably gonna have a +10 in every version, but for like newer players, like might be a bit difficult because you can sometimes get away with like a new unit at like maybe +1 or +2 sometimes, depending on your legendary core and stuff. So I'm not completely sure, to be honest, but I mean the availability of just being able to pick who you want to play with is really, really nice. It makes Arena so much less like just terrible, right? Like typically every day, like every Monday for me, like or Tuesday when Arena resets, I'm just like, okay, I gotta do this. I don't want to do this, but I have to, right? Now it was like, oh, okay, I gotta play with Nino for a couple matches. That was fun.
Yeah, and I think like Arena, that change just gives so much more flexibility to team building and is also a lot less resource intensive if it was like on every season, because instead of having to like build up bonus units for every new like slate of bonus heroes for like every 2 weeks or every 1 week now, like you could just have like a +10 on every version and be good with that. Like you don't have to worry about, maybe there won't be an F2P option to merge up on the bonus slate and you can't really do anything about that. And so I personally would prefer there to have been that version. I guess we can call it like the chaos bonus versions for like every week. And that's what I thought initially, but unfortunately, it appears that's not the case.
Yeah, it looks like about once a month will be approximately will be the frequency. But I am curious. I think, just quick glance at it, I think this is the highest participation we've had in Arena in quite some time.
I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, that ticket is just like amazing. Like that is such a great reward. You know what I really want to know is though, who is your dream ticket pit pool? Like what 5-star would you love to get out of a ticket?
Valoria 100% for me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I need her. I wanted her for so long, but she has refused to like just arrive randomly in my barracks. And unfortunately I can't like justify summoning for her. So thankfully this ticket is a way to get that. Unfortunately my first pull was Jafar, which is absolutely useless. So, but
hey.
At least you got a colorless stone. This is really funny because that's exactly my dream pull. Like really? I don't have a Valoria. I really, really want one because there's so many fun things you can do. She's another one that I would absolutely love to get in the whale formas, but yeah, I didn't even get a colorless stone. So my primary was colorless, my secondary was green, and I got blue and red.
Oh,
like, come on.
That's the desire sensor, I guess, kicking in. What unit did you get eventually?
I got Byleth, which is fine because if I end up making that crazy arena Crom that I was talking to you guys about, that's Ruptured Sky fodder for him.
Right. I mean, that's excellent fodder. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh my gosh. So for me, like, I don't know why every single person I've talked to is like, I want green and colorless, right? And I'm the only person I've heard that's like, I want red. Everybody else is like, avoid red. I'm like, I want red the most. Give me red. That's all I care about.
What unit did you want?
I want like so many. I want Alincia, Brave Roy, Zelgius, Alm, Ike. Like, there's just a million units I want in red. So like, the chances of me getting something I actually want are pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, in your situation, yeah, red would definitely be the best color. Unfortunately, I guess both Joel and I have our eyes set on that one unit that we really, really want.
And colorless is the smallest pool. So it like we have the best odds, you know, if they show up. But.
Right.
I mean, I guess technically speaking, like, okay, never mind. I'm not going to get into that conversation. Anyways,
I know. Just because a colorless thing, if a colorless orb doesn't show up, it doesn't mean that. Yeah. Anyway, I let me be superstitious. That's.
Anyways, we also got our recent refines. We talked about it briefly, but I mean, for me personally, I thought this refined batch was fine, although not exactly the most standout by any means. Like, I think the most interesting unit that got refined was Winter Marth with the preempt armor potentially being able to like save things. Obviously with Embla, that's no longer really possible in Dark if she catches on, but you know, in Astra, I think that could be super fun.
Completely agree. I think Marth definitely won this one. Like, he has the coolest ability, and like, even though Embla exists, like, saves aren't going to completely die, especially in the other season. And the cool thing is, Special Spiral 4 just came out, and you can technically run that on him, and then he can just shoot a, like, you know, damage piercing Fire Emblem right into their face. So that's cool.
The problem with this batch was our last batch was so amazing.
Yeah,
and that's I mean, in a vacuum, this was like, if you take a step back, this was a good set of refines. But I mean, Ellawood and Yoon together, they were just bonkers. They were absolutely phenomenal, and this set didn't have that. I do think the December ones, I have a feeling we'll get another bonkers set there, so we'll see.
It is possible. Yeah.
The next one we're getting has Altina, so obviously we're getting the best refine of the year.
Sorry, did I say that wrong? It's January when the next Mythic batch comes out, right? Or no, is it December?
We already got this. Was December.
This is December, so I guess
it's January
technically.
Sorry, yes. So the beginning of January. I can't even keep track of the weeks apparently.
Yeah, so we'll be getting Altina and Leaf, and I think Winter Sothis. So we're gonna have the best refine of the year with Altina, and then the worst with Winter Sothis. It's gonna be great.
Oh, poor Winter Sothis. They'll make her player phase.
Oh my gosh. This is like the Sothis Slandering podcast right now. Just replace that.
I actually love Sothis. That was the funny part. I love Sothis. I think she's a great character.
And that's the thing. We all do. Like the disappointment isn't that we're dogging Sothis. We're mad at IS for taking one of our units that we like and making them just not good.
Yeah. Anyway, on to more happy thoughts. Since last time, I think that covers most of the interesting like additions and. Oh wait, no, there's Ninja Camilla. I guess that's another very interesting unit that I believe Joel you've employed very well in your Aether Raids clears, at least from the videos I've seen. Right?
Love her. Absolutely love her. She is so much fun. I even think they did a good job with her res check for the Vantage. Like, I think they did a good job balancing her. She is phenomenal and a great design, and Camilla fans should be very happy.
She is very strong. And I'm interested to see if we get more of those kind of effects where we get like maybe a defense-based one or something like that on a different character. Because they're pretty scary.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead.
If we take out Embla, I think some of these units that they've put out have been amazingly creative lately. And it's a good trend that I've really enjoyed. I hope they keep more of that and less of Embla.
Yeah, I do hope so as well. Although I think there have been occasions where they've missed the mark, not in the same way Embla did, but like in the lackluster way. Dual Laegjarn, I think, is the biggest culprit of that, in my personal opinion. Like, out of the three ninja duos we've had, I think I can say for certainty at this current moment that Dual Laegjarn is both my least favorite and the one I think is the least powerful or helpful as well, unfortunately.
Where would you rank her in compared to the last year? Like,
what do you mean?
Obviously, like in the duos, obviously like Crom would be up in the like the best, and then like Ike would be way down at the bottom.
Yeah, I knew you were going there. I was waiting for it. In reality, I think like Laegjarn and Ike are kind of like in a similar place where like they're good and they're situationally strong, but they're not like the unit you're always going towards, right? They're not Duo Thor or Duo Crom, right? Or even Sonya.
I mean, I personally would put Dual Ike above Dual Laegjarn because at the very least he does have that dual skill, which for a time was, helpful. I guess for like the 1 month after his release.
I still like it. Hey, I think it's still great because when you go into that AoE meta we've been having, just being able to turn it off, like a lot of people are just like, oh, what do I do now? And you're like, yeah, you have no AoEs, and you have like 4 of them originally.
Yeah, that's true too, right? Like that, like at the very least, he has his dual skill to potentially provide value in those metas.
Yeah.
But like Laegjarn, like she doesn't do like the extra action thing better than the other units, I feel like, and I don't think she really has the tank busting capabilities to do that very well, especially compared to the other nukes we've had. Like, I guess, like, I don't know. Like, the only other unit that might have been, like, comparable would have been, like, Thief Nina before Embla. But now with Embla, like, obviously Thief Nina just dramatically rose in value. So, yeah, I honestly think Laegjarn is, like, down near the bottom, honestly, of this year. That's just my personal take, though.
All right, I'm pulling up the duos from the last year, a little longer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. She's not terrible. Like if we're going,
she's not terrible.
She's very mid. Like
exactly.
That's, in every sense of the word, like middle of the pack, and she's very mid.
Right.
So we had New Year's Dagger, Harmonic Azura, Dual Crom, Harmonic Sonya, Young Ike, Harmonic Roy. I guess I guess Laegjarn and Harmonic Roy are around the same. We've had Summer Edelgard.
That's about the level I'd put her at.
Yeah,
Is
I
that
think so
same
too.
level.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, Summer Edelgard, Summer Thor, Thief Nina.
Like, she's not duo Sothis level, but she's...
Okay, we're going way back then. Okay.
Well, that's the one. Like, that's the one you think about when you think about the duo that just really screwed people over for summoning. It was duo Sothis.
Or like Harmonic Tiki. Oh my gosh.
And listen, for fans of Duo Sothis or any of these ones that we're ranking a little lower, understand that on the duo harmonic scale, like a low tier duo hero is still a very good hero. Mm-hmm. But it's you usually expect a little more from them. And Laegjarn, like you guys said, I mean, there's definitely places where she's just amazing, but overall she's just a little lackluster.
Yeah, which sucks because I love Laegjarn. So
yeah.
I guess looking back. Go ahead.
There's a bigger thing here, and I want to talk about, so looking at her and looking at her possible refine sometime in the future, and given that refines for duo heroes are kind of like they're not at the level of legendaries that we're seeing in Mythics. Mm-hmm. I mean, is that worrisome to folks who are real big fans of these units like Duo Sothis?
I mean, yeah, to a certain extent, but I think I rather have like these dual refines not be super busted, because there's some very busted dual units, like especially like something like Ninja Lin, who is still extremely good to this day. Like if she gets like Yune refine, for example, I feel like that would actually break the game. I mean, I would love it personally, but like objectively speaking, like I rather, for like a lot of the dual units, I think, you know, it's fine the way IS has been treating them right now. It might not be the most exciting, but I think it's fine. And you know, on occasion you do get like really good ones, like, you know, Winter Marth, as we discussed. So like dual units are not just doomed right from the start.
Yeah, I mean, doomed is a really strong word. But they don't get the same love that Brave and Legendary and Mythic heroes do, definitely.
Yeah, that's true.
I think for me the thing is, like, you have to consider the foundation, right, of the weapon.
Mm-hmm. So
if you have a strong foundation, you don't really need an insane refine for it to be good, right? Like look at Brave Edelgard. Like she got a very solid refine, but the reason why it's so insane is because her base weapon is insane. So you put that on top and it's just like a ridiculous weapon. With Ephraim and Hector, I'm gonna get them mad. I'm gonna get so many fans mad at me for saying this, but Ephraim and Hector were not the best duos to begin with. So like without a cracked out refine, they're really not gonna like get up to the level where you really want them at. So I think that's kind of the situation. Like Duo Marth, I guess, kind of was not really cracked out either to begin with, and he got kind of a good refine, but still, like I feel like when we get to like the future Mythics that were like really good to begin with, like they don't really need all that much to like get up to back into shape essentially.
So you're saying Duo Sothis might be good?
No, because is her base weapon good? Is her base weapon good? I think it's bad, right? I don't remember.
I was like, where? I don't remember the timeline when Duo Sothis was good. What?
Right, yeah, exactly. I was trying to say like Ninja Lin's gonna be good, or maybe like Duo
Ninja Lin's gonna be awesome. Mark my words. I swear, if you mess this up, I will never forgive you.
They're gonna put disarm trap on her, and that's it. That's her whole refine.
You know what? I'll be down with that. Give me that. Just gives desperation on the B. Let's go.
I'll be honest. Yeah, that wouldn't be the worst thing. Just giving her a disarm trap would kind of be busted.
But it works with the magic traps too. Now it's really good.
Oh yes. All right, done. We're officially putting you in charge of refines. That's it.
Clip it and ship it. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess looking past and back over this entire past book, I think this book, not in terms of like in game, but also as like a community and us as FEHTubers, I think is one I think would definitely remember very fondly about. Like obviously, even though like tournaments for Summoners Duels didn't exactly catch on, as much as I would have hoped. Like, they were still a lot of fun, and I was able to meet like a lot of like other FEHTubers that way. And looking at this past book, I think this was also a moment of growth. Were there any moments that you look back to very fondly, or perhaps not so fondly?
High point had to be the episode with PM1 and getting to collaborate with him. That stands very high. It's one of those things where you meet someone, and obviously this is a very smart guy. No one is disputing that ever. But it's nice when you meet someone like that, and they're also incredibly nice and a good person. Like it's fun. And that was community building for me, and starting to get to meet some of those folks, and I thought that was fantastic. The other highlight, honestly, was this little chat we've got going with you guys. Like that's, our little FEHTuber support group. That to me, that's been a really fun moment.
Yes.
As far as, I'm trying to think low points. Low point. It's been a pretty good year. Like,
like honestly, this year has been amazing. At least in terms of like us being content creators and interacting with the community, I would say.
Okay. We'll say low point. The handling of Summoner Duels, the competitive modes. I wish they would have done that better, because I think the community would look on Summoner Duels better if that was handled a little differently. We'll call that a low point.
I think for me, I'm gonna be a little bit selfish here. I think my highest point of the year was like having that moment where like in early SDR, where I was just like grinding so hard and like trying so many different strategies and just like practicing my mind out to get rank 1, and I actually hit it. It's just like I don't know how to explain how good it felt to hit that rank 1 and just have like a burden lifted off my shoulders. Like, it felt so good.
I mean, that was an amazing achievement, and you should feel proud of that.
Now I don't feel as like whatever, but like now I'm like, okay, I got rank 1, cool. But like that first one felt really good. Like, it felt amazing. So definitely that. For low points, I don't really know. Like, maybe like having videos come out and not doing well that you've like worked hard on, I guess. But other than that, like for the most part, most of the videos either performed better than I wanted, or like some of them just popped off like out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Like Intelligent System's favorite character video, I put that together in like a day. I didn't expect that to be a good video. People loved it, so I was like, hey, nice. So that was definitely a good moment.
Yeah, honestly, I would say this year has been one of my favorites. Like, high points for me were definitely the Summoner's Duels tournament that Fargas made that one time. It like really helped me interact with more FEHTubers, and with a couple additional steps, eventually led to me collaborating with you two a lot more and having our chat, which I'm super thankful for. And yeah, that FEHTubers chat
definitely
is also one of my highlights that I absolutely love. And also, like Oblivion mentioned, reaching rank 1 for the first time in SDR was a little bit later than Oblivion, unfortunately, but we eventually got there thanks to Pala. And I don't think there were any really low points either. The low point, even though IRL this was a high point, but the low point was when I went on vacation and literally everything got announced. I can't believe that actually happened. Like, I genuinely am so just like, what were the odds they'd have a FEH channel 1 month after like the CYL one? There was just no way, right? But it happened. Okay, but yeah, like obviously IRL.
What all happened though? It was that Engage got announced, and it was something else. Like, it just pile on pile on pile. It was
yeah. So yeah, I guess that could be the low point. Even though, like, obviously I had a great time, so don't regret it.
Right.
Any favorite unit banner skills that were released during this time?
Oh, easy. Ascended Joshua. Ascended Joshua is, I love everything about Ascended Joshua. Like, he is the full package. Like, sometimes you get those characters like Dual Ike where like I really kind of like the character, but I don't like the implementation sometimes. Or like the art isn't great, right? Like Legendary Dimitri. I love Legendary Dimitri as a unit. I do not care for his art all that much. But Joshua was perfect. Perfect art, great implementation, like just all-star 10 out of 10.
Oh, that's a hard one. Because I have such a boring answer, and I'm trying not to have the boring answer. So I'll give two. I really have enjoyed using Dual Crom.
I mean, I don't blame you at all.
That unit and the way I got him with my kid getting 7 of them in 200 orbs. I mean, it was extra special. I also my other favorite from this year that they released was Flame Tana. I really enjoy using her. Absolutely fantastic. But that's Crom with the way I got him and all that. That was just extra special, and it makes him a fun unit for me to use.
That was easily like one of the craziest summoning sessions I've ever watched.
It's beyond ridiculous.
Yeah, that was something.
Yeah, as for me, I guess my favorite unit, and I guess I'll betray my mascot for this, but even though Valentine's Lucina did exist, I have to give it to Summer Edelgard. Like, just being able to use her, another 3 movement armor with Assault Troop was just so much fun. And the harmonized duo was something I never really expected, but was super down for. I didn't realize I wanted it, in a sense. And yeah, she's just been super fun. And
who's harmonized Edelgard? You mean harmonized Altina?
Yeah, that's definitely harmonic Altina. I'll let it go.
Okay. I see the crowd I'm hanging out with. But yeah.
I mean, have you seen the art? Like, jeez.
Yeah, like, obviously, like, probably, like, by far, like, my favorite unit. And, like, even though as much as I do love Valentine's Lucina and do use her quite a lot, like, nothing compares to just the player face fun that you can have with her.
She fits so perfectly with your style. Like, it melds so well with you.
Yes, Ayas is watching from, I guess, Tokyo or somewhere to bring me my wishes. That's Summer Banner.
I was gonna say from heaven for some reason. From Gacha Heaven.
Gacha Heaven.
Oh my god.
RNGesus will bless us with our favorite game concepts.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, any final thoughts before we end it off?
There's actually one more topic I want to bring up, because whenever we get a new mythic of the first book, they always kind of like foreshadow what we're going to get, right? Like, we have Peony, and then we got a lot of dancing fairies throughout the year. We got like Regan, and we got a bunch of Kanto throughout the year. So now that we have Seiðr here with this turning off ability, is there any ideas you can think of that could implement like in the future? Like, what could that foreshadow possibly?
I've been racking my brain on that one, because I think they're playing a lot into the whole time aspect, and seeing how they look at that, and the way they're interpreting time in this here in this is that a unit loses their turn, and you've got Golveg who gains a turn essentially. And we've seen that, so I'm curious if they play more into that as we go. But I definitely expect the time theme to be a big deal.
Yeah, that was basically what I was going for. Like, Golveg, like, obviously has like the Gale Force actions, so maybe like not necessarily dancers, but other mechanics that expand or decrease the actions you get. Essentially, I think could be a possibility of where they go.
Okay, so here's my crack idea, right? Okay, You get a unit with Kanto Recall like Dionina, but after she attacks, she goes back to the place she was, like she's rewinding time, and she gets her action back. Imagine that.
Why are you trying to break the game?
It's already going to be broken anyway.
I would love that. That would be super interesting.
And it's going to be released on Ascended Jafar just because I want that. So hear me out.
I mean, I personally would love that personally, but you know. Yeah. Any other final thoughts?
No, I thank you for having us. Thank you for hosting these. They are always a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. I love them.
Yeah, it's always my pleasure. Like, I always look forward to recording these podcasts with y'all. And yeah, it's always super fun being able to discuss one of our favorite games. And yeah, that concludes this State of FEH podcast. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that jazz to help support the channel. And not only to my channel, but to Joel's and Oblivion's channels as well. Once again, the link will be in the description down below. And yeah, we all had a great time in Book 6. Very much looking forward to Book 7 and the future of FEH. And yeah, let us know down in the comments what you're hoping for as we move into Book 7. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you too for joining me as always. And yeah, have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Take care, folks.
Vote for Felix for CYL.